Hello, everyone. Welcome to WagerTalk TV. I am Minty Beth, joined by Ralph Michaels at CalSportsLV on Twitter and Dave Koken at Dave Koken on Twitter. We are going to talk about this Saturday's college football game between the Miami Hurricanes at the Louisville Cardinals. Cardinals are favored by 2.5 points now, and the total is currently set at 64.5. Let's start with you, Dave. Both teams coming off a win. What do you expect here?
Yeah, both teams coming off impressive wins, too. Miami looked good in its first game out against, a decent Alabama-Birmingham team. They gave the quarterback fits in that game, and Derek King looked every bit the part of the superstar he's going to be with this Miami program. In the meantime, I thought Louisville's win over Western Kentucky was very impressive. Listen, that Western Kentucky team is pretty good, and they did a lot of good things offensively in that matchup against a defense that I think is going to be a better than average defense. So impressed with both teams. You have a big revenge motive here. Normally, I don't put much into revenge, but Louisville got their teeth kicked in by Miami last year. That was, I think, easily their worst game of the season. So the Cardinals are certainly going to be bent on gaining some revenge as far as that goes. And it's something that I think the betting market is recognizing, because it looks like, at least early on, the sharper money in this game does seem to be on the Louisville side. I think it's a really tough game to call. Part of the reason for that is, second-year head coach, you're going to see improvement over the first year. They're both second-year head coaches at these programs, and they were programs that I think needed a shot in the arm, and they both got them. I think these teams are on relatively equal footing, making it one of the best games of the day. But one thing that's definitely happening with the market, and I don't disagree with this, the bettors are expecting a lot of offense. The total on this game has definitely shot up. It's gone up about 3 points.
All righty, Ralph, let's go to you. What do you think about this game?
Well, yeah, it's the biggest game. You got Kirk Herbstreit calling it, so you have the prime eyes. Louisville had about 12,000 fans last game. They're expecting that number again this game. I wasn't that impressed with Derek King. Yes, he's dynamic, and yes, he ran 12 times for 83 yards. But to be 15 of 23 and only complete 6.2 yards per attempt, wasn't anything that I'm going to hang my hat on. Now, UAB's got a stout defense for who they are in a lower league, but Louisville's defense much improved, 16 starters back, 8 on each side of the ball. We saw Miami's D-line cause some problems, and, while you don't have the main piece there in Roche, he sat out. You do have the Temple transfer, who is the FBS leader and had a sack yesterday. I actually am leaning against the public or against the sharp money, and I like the under, Minty and Dave. You have a situation where Louisville last week only ran 72 plays. When Satterfield's put in a spot as a dog, he usually is fairly conservative. And you now have a conference. You're both starting the ACC 0-0. The ACC switched this year. You don't have divisions. Notre Dame was added in, and the best 2 conference records at the end of the season play in the ACC championship. I think both of these teams and both of these coaches going into this game believe they have a legitimate shot to be one of the top 2 teams. Now, granted, Clemson, Notre Dame, North Carolina, better than both of them, but these are those next tier teams. So I think we have a conservative approach, game 1 of a conference schedule, Derek King making his first road start, Louisville's defense much improved, and I actually think there's value with the under in this one.
Okay, you like the under here. Dave, do you have anything else to add on to what Ralph said?
No, the only thing I'd say is that I'm going to excuse King's less than spectacular numbers because it was the first game in a new system. And, let's face it, these teams have not had a lot of practice time coming in. And I think that had something to do with them running a conservative game plan. I do think they'll open things up here. But look, from a value standpoint, and value is so important in college football. It's important in any sport. But to me, if you didn't bet the over early, you kind of missed the boat on it. Ralph, would you agree with that? If you're going to go in that direction, the party already started. It's a little late to get to it now. So from that standpoint, if you're searching value, then you have to look at the under because you're going to get a better number there.
Agree, but you know what, Dave? I want our viewers to remember that conversation when you and I do our next video, because we've had a big line move in that game, but I still think there's value. So I want to hear your talk on that. So I do agree. Obviously, I like the under, and with the line move, it's made me like the under a little bit more here.
Okay, good stuff, guys. Thank you so much. That was Dave Koken, and that was Ralph Michaels. Give them a follow on Twitter at CalSportsLV for Ralph, at Dave Koken for Dave Koken. Guys, first-time customers at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com receive $25 in wager bucks after their initial purchase, and you can double dip at both sites. Thanks for watching, everyone.